everyone, this is Gail and welcome to my channel this evening. We are going to be talking about service dogs and some service dog road trip tips, how to keep your service dog safer on a road trip or your pet safer on a road trip if you travel with pets. Our pets are important. And yeah, we're going to just kind of dive in just a minute. If you have not subscribed to the channel, though, I invite you to go ahead and do that and definitely give me a like on the video because that really does help with those YouTube algorithms. And I see that Living Positively After Challenges is here and she stepped out. She's going to be right back. All right. So Laurie's going to be right back. So there's several things that I want to talk to you about going on a road trip with your service dog. It's really important to put some thought into it before you go, if you can, and don't just wing it on the trip. Because you don't want to just do some of these things just for service dogs, but for your pets as well. And we're going to be talking about that. But I believe that prevention, what is this saying? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And so that's why we want to be proactive when it comes to, hitting the road with a pet, whether we're going on vacation or we're just going to go to grandma's house, if we're going to do a weekend getaway, whatever. The things that we want to know really make a big difference in whether or not you have a good time with your dog. So let me see here. I've got a list of things to talk about. So if you've got paper and you want to take notes, I would encourage that. So dive right in. So one of the first things that I want to talk about is just starting from the very basic, your car seat cover. When you look on Amazon for your car seat covers, let me pull it up as we're talking about this because it's important. Because there's something about car seat covers that we never think about, okay? And we need to talk about this. So I got this pet hammock, and it's at an amazing price right now. Okay, so sorry about that. It is now $11.99 minus a 15% off coupon on the pet hammock that I last purchased April 7, 2023. So a couple of things here. This pet hammock, I really like everything about it except the color. So when you pull it up, you can see that it covers all of the back seat. This is not one of those that just covers the bottom portion of the seat like some do. No. This covers the entire seat. Now, this flap that would go on the driver's side, if you will, of the front of the seat, this flap, you don't have to put it up. You can put it down if you want to. If you put it up, that leaves like a nice tunnel for your dog. And the flaps also, one of the things that I like is they cover the edge of the seat. This is waterproof, okay? Waterproof is really important because of the obvious. If they spill something, if they have an accident, if heaven forbid your service dog gets sick in the back seat, you want to be able to know that your seat is protected. So waterproof is a big help. But sometimes when we're traveling, I like to give my dog water in the back seat. So you want to make sure it's waterproof. But there is one thing about this that I want you all really to think about here and to pay attention to because it is a really big thing, and that is the color. The color. And when you go through and you look at these, most all of them are black. Car seat covers for dogs. We're just going to do a quick Amazon search. I buy everything at Amazon, I'm telling you. But they're just about all black. Now, here's one. It looks like it might be dark gray. That one might be dark gray. The thing is with black that you really want to pay attention to is, what does black do in a car? It absorbs heat. So it's not that bad in the winter, but in the summer, something that you get into is you're asking your dog to jump from the hot asphalt into a hot car on a hot surface with the seat covers. So if you can, certainly here's a tan one right here. You know that this one might be worth consideration. It doesn't cover everything like the other one does, but that might be worth consideration there. What I like to do is I have a large white, super thick, large, super large towel that I will put down on the top of the seat, and that makes it not as hot. So try to put something over it if you can. Like I said, they do have, here's another one that's gray. You're still going to run into some problems with the heat, but not as much. It just doesn't cover the whole everything in the back seat. So you kind of have to decide what you really want out of a car seat cover. For us, I've actually checked it with an infrared thermometer, and I can see the difference in having the towel and not having it on. So, go that route. So if you're going to use the seat cover, use a towel on it. The other thing, let me say hi here. I got a couple of other people in the chat. CPKCRR Railroad is here. So, hey. And we've also got Tuber Chat in here. So, hi, Tuber Chat. It's amazing to see you. Now, Tuber Chat is a great place to connect with other channels because they're all about putting us together, and it's really nice. And, of course, CPKC Railroad is all about the railroad. And Lori at Living Positively is all about being positive. Now, let's see. What does CPKC Railroad stand for? Say here. Oh, I bought 4 Atlantic Coastline Railroad spikes and 1 rare Rio Grande, or Rio Grande, however you would like to pronounce it, Southern Railroad spike from 1888. That's so cool. Off of eBay. Cool. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. So going back to the seat covers, you noticed as I flipped through that a lot of those seat covers make that tunnel. So what you have happening when you have that tunnel is you have airflow that's compromised. Now, if you've ever sat in the back seat of a car, then you already know that there is not as much airflow to that back seat as there is in the front, and it can get kind of hot back there. So one little tip that I like to share with everyone is put a fan back there. Now, it doesn't have to be a super expensive fan or anything like that. I'm going to pull up the one that I like, which is just a basic clip-on fan. And I love this thing because I can maneuver it. I can click, I can clip it on. I can twist it around. And I've had this one forever, but I'm going to show it to you so you can see more of what I'm talking about here. And this, you may even want to consider it for family, friends, anybody that's in the back seat. It's just, I feel like it's more important to have it back there with the dog. So I clip it onto the headrest. And yeah, it's a little irritating sometimes at the back of my head, but I know that he's okay. And, you can clip it on anywhere you can. So if you have a seat rest, armrest, things like that, then you can clip it. Other thing that I like about this one is, and it's currently unavailable, of course, but the other thing I like about this one is at the head, I can turn it any which way I want to. It's got an aromatherapy feature, which I've never ever used, nor will I, just because. But you can see it set up differently here. So I really recommend that. Something else that you can check into is a stroller fan. And you may want more than one. But the whole idea is just to keep some airflow going back there. Here's a stroller fan that's got arms on it that you can twist. It's like a gorilla tripod if you've ever had one of those, or a bendy tripod, they're called. The legs on this one, it works the same way, and I've actually been looking at getting one of these. USB rechargeable. There you go. So you don't ever have to worry about the batteries going down. So, look into that because it really helps, in that back seat there in the car. So that's one of the biggest tips that I can give you for dealing with hot weather. Let me get this off of here. And I want to say that if you all have any questions about any of this as we go along, to definitely drop them in the chat, okay? Because I want to get to them. And if you're taking notes, awesome. Let's see. I'm so loving to Pipsy. I try to. He takes care of me. I take care of him. It's a good relationship. So thank you. And let's see. CPKC, Canadian Pacific and Kansas City Southern merged together this year officially. Oh, neat. I did not know that. I did not know that. That's pretty cool. Okay. So that I would say is tip number one. Make sure that there is airflow, because if you can make sure that there is airflow in that back seat, your dog is less likely to get sick. There's less likely to get overheated, less likely to get dehydrated, and just the physical aspects of getting sick are a little less likely to happen. So you want to have good airflow. So you think, well, I've got the air conditioner on, and that is great. Just don't ever lull yourself into a false sense of security, because even if you're driving down the road with the air conditioning on, you still want to have a fan on that back seat. The other thing is a seatbelt. Excuse me. The other thing is a seatbelt. A lot of people want to have a seatbelt on their dog. I just found out the other day that in some places, you're required to have your dog buckled in. So I just found that out. I have not had a full time to check that out. But because Pipsy is a service dog, he moves around when we're in the car, specifically when we're in the van. So I'm going to have to check that out about the seatbelt and do some research, and I'll get back with you on that. But that's something to consider. So there are also some specific items that you want to make sure that you have. And I have done some video clips, things I'm going to show you here and talk about those. Ooh, CPKC says his spike is 7 inches long. That's really cool. That's long. It sounds long to me anyway. So, all right. Screen sharing here.
So make sure you have 2 bowls. The one bowl for
when I'm showing you this, I'm specifically showing you about what I have set up in the van. So your setup is going to be a little different, but even if you're in the car, if you're traveling on a car road trip, or whether you're doing van life, you want to make sure you have bowls. So I have this double bowl that I like to use with Pipsy, and I also have the larger bowl. So the thing about the double bowl is he makes a real mess when he's drinking. And so what I have found is the shallow bowl, he doesn't make as big of a mess in. But I want him to have access to water, at least in the van, all the time. So I got the double bowl, and I'll fill both halves with water. He has access to it all the time, and he doesn't make as big of a mess. And that's really important to me. Then I have the other bowl for his dog food. So he still has, the eating. It's just that I use the double bowl. That double bowl just really helps tremendously. Also, drinking water. Ignore the fact that it says Canada. That's where I bought the bottle, but I reuse it. I wash it. I let it dry. I reuse it. Take your own water from home. Take it with you because your dog is already used to that water. You're not asking him to get used to water on the trip in various places where you stop. And you may even want to have 2 jugs of water or filter it. So I tend to do both on the trip because especially my long ones, I don't have enough space to carry everything that I want to take. So I'll start off with water that he's used to, and I'll kind of work it in, and I'll give him water that he's used to, and then the next time I'll do the filtering water, and then I'll give him water that he's used to. And so I alternate that. And a couple of different ways that you can do it when it comes to filtering. One is you can buy a specific water filter pitcher. There's several brands on the market that are really good, and just pick your favorite there. But filter it. The other way that you can do it is you can get a water filter bottle. I'm going to pull up the one I've got here. And I use this a lot, frankly, because it's smaller. It does several gallons, and I don't have to worry about it. So, because for me, the smaller water bottle, it's just easier to have with me because I can put it in my backpack, I can throw it in my purse, and it just doesn't take up as much space, but it's got these filters in it. And if you notice, as I go through here, I'm showing you things that I have actually purchased. That's because I want you to know that I use these, okay? And I want to just toss out a bunch of tips that I don't know, or, he said, she said, suggested. I'm giving you everything that was suggested to me that I actually use, okay? Because if it's a workable suggestion at all, I love my service dog. You love your pets. You love your service dog. So we want to keep them healthy. So you're probably thinking, okay, why do you want to filter water? Because we're in the U.S. And let me clarify too, I am talking about domestic road trips and domestic vacations. If you go internationally, that's a little different, okay? So we're talking about how to do a U.S. road trip travel with a service dog or your pet. So the reason why, because I know you're thinking, why would I filter my dog's water? And the thing is, water is different depending on where you are in the country. And a lot of people don't stop to think about it. So if you go toward the coast, for example, the water at the coast has a different flavor than does water, say, in the Midwest, because it's got different things in the water. So it tends to be softer because you have the salt influence. I am talking about fresh water, but it tends to be a little softer. Well, if you come to like East Tennessee, for example, you may have limestone water, or if you're visiting friends, you may be on a well. They may be on a well. And so you may have sulfur in your water. We've run into both of those, just here in East Tennessee. So filtering the dog's water is so helpful. And if you go like to the Midwest, you've got other things in the water. If you go, say, to the desert Southwest, you've got other things in the water. And we're so used to it. I mean, it doesn't bother us. But it may bother your dog. So just be a little safer and take the water with you if you can. And yeah, let's see. Peter's in here. Hang on to Peter. I'm going to get to you in just a second. So take it with you if you can. Take, whatever amount you can, and then try to work them into it slowly, just as you would if you were changing dog food and getting them used to a new brand of food. It just helps. It just helps. So Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man the Hero, is here, and he says, "This is a road trip video." LOL. It's actually not really. It's a live stream. Valerie Reese is also in the house. So hey, Valerie, how are you? It's good to see everyone. Good to see everyone. Um, so so that's where we are on the water. Now I really like the Philips Go Zero active bottle that I just showed you on Amazon because, like I said, it is easy to carry and I can just squeeze it. So no matter where we are, he's got access to filtered water. So yay! Um, Toys are also something that you don't want to forget. Look, our service dogs, our pets, they're like fluffy kids, you know? So think about what you need to take a kid somewhere. It's kind of similar. You know, you got to watch out for the water. You've got treats for the dogs. So think snacks for your kids. Toys. You want to have your kids' favorite toy. Well, you want to have your dog's favorite toys too. And it it makes the dog more comfortable. It helps them work out stress. You just really want to make sure you have the toys for lots of reasons. Also, especially if you're going to be in a hotel, you want a toy that's going to keep them occupied. So if you have an aggressive chewer, what I mean by an aggressive chewer, for example, my lab is an aggressive chewer, some huskies, some of your larger dogs are aggressive chewers. And so for them, not only are they an aggressive chewer, but they really need to have something firm, something that they can really enjoy because it really helps with the stress. It also helps with getting some of their energy out. Those are two things that you're probably going to encounter at some point on a road trip. So you want to have something kind of to keep them occupied. You don't want to turn them completely loose, just like at home, but you want to keep them occupied. And so this is one of the ones that I use. Pipsy loves it. It's a $3 toy. So take some with you. Anything that you have, that he's used to at home, if he likes it, think about getting a second toy to take with you. And, here's another one, $2.39. He loves this thing. So it's worth getting a second one to take with you on the trip. Okay. Anything that you can do to kind of alleviate their stress will also alleviate yours. So, and believe me, there's nothing worse than going to a hotel and then realizing, hey, you forgot a toy, and having your dog staring at the bed, thinking, what can I do to that comforter? Now, that has not happened to me because I overdo it, over prepare on trips, but it can happen. And, you can even forget sometimes. So if you forget and you get to the hotel room and you've really got to have a toy and you don't want to go back out, there is Instacart. Okay. Just any kind of grocery delivery service you can bring toys if it gets to that point. So try to remember that. Let's see. Peter, I am sorry to hear that. Peter says his dog is not feeling well. I'm sorry. I hate to hear that. And Peter says Deadpool 4 is coming soon. Cool. Valerie says that Leah and Chris spent the weekend there. They had an awesome time. That is fabulous. And you all, I won Leah's book, and I'm starting to read it. So yeah, here's the book. Let me grab it. This is Leah's book. And Dino Tall Tales from the Simpler Times Up on the Hill. So there you go on that one. Instacart is great. DoorDash, I don't know. I've not tried DoorDash for toys. That might work. I don't know. If you try it, let me know how it works. Anybody listening to this, if you try DoorDash, I want to know how it works. You can have, it's amazing to me how many times I'll get somewhere and think, oh, I wish I'd gotten this or wish I'd gotten that. And it can be your answer, Instacart. So, yeah. All right. So let's go into toys in general. Hold on a second. Pulling this up. And again, I'm showing you things that I actually use because I think that's important that you get solid information. Now, this is not a toy. This is a collapsible silicone dog bowl. Now, I know I showed you the other two bowls that I use, but I like having this one because it clips onto his harness or his collar, so we always have it with us. So I will have that, and I'll have my water bottle. He can get something to drink anywhere we are. I don't even have to think about it. So if we're out at a national park or wherever, there's everything I need to go. So clip it on him, and they're only a couple of bucks on Amazon, and it's well worth it. Other thing is about toys. I've got a couple of things here. This one is his pretzel, and you can tell he really loves this thing, and he has done a lot of chewing on it. A lot of chewing on it. That's because he is an aggressive chewer. An aggressive chewer needs toys that are sturdier. Okay. The other thing is his all-important tennis ball. Yes, that is probably his number one most favorite toy that has ever been invented. Big hint. Big hint on this. Walmart sells them by the bagful. You don't have to buy just one little canister. You can buy like 15 balls in this little bag. Do that. Oh, you're almost finished with your recent second book. Yay! Yay. Oh, Peter, okay. Thank you for coming in. Good night. Good night, Peter. So, buy you a bag full of tennis balls. Bring a few from home. And you're probably now thinking, how do you play with a tennis ball on a road trip? A lot of rest areas have dog parks. And they can be great for working out energy. Dog parks are a little controversial. Personally, I love them when I'm on the road, when we can use them. I really like to use them, but I know that they are a little controversial. Yes, you're taking the risk of germs. Yes, you're taking the risk being around other dogs, but I like the socialization. I like him being able to have room to run and stretch his little legs. So I look for dog parks. So rest areas also loves truck stops. A lot of them have and are putting in more dog parks. If you're at a campground, a lot of commercial campgrounds have dog parks also. But sometimes you just can't find a dog park and you've got a dog that wants to run off some energy. And for that, I have a lead. Now, I'm not just talking about a lead kind of tip. I'm talking about an actual lead. I have this one. And they have them in all kinds of lengths. So this is a 50-foot lead. If I want him to be on a 25-foot lead, then I just double it. Instead of clipping one end on my van and the other end on him, I will put both halves of the lead together to shorten it. Because you got to think, if you're on a 50-foot lead, that gives him a 100-foot spread. And I like to do that if we're at a place where, let's say, there's trees around, and I really can't get to a dog park because there's not one. So trees, there are places that you can hook it up on your van or car. But what you want to avoid is those retractable leashes, because the dog starts running. And if you've got a large dog instead of a small dog, once they start running, you're holding on to that, and that pulls. And that can hurt your hand. That can hurt your dog. But the other really big thing, it can pull out of the retractable leash. And I have seen twice now dogs running around a rest area, dragging this 15-foot retractable leash behind them. And you don't want that. So get the lead, use the lead, go to an area where there's more expanse to run, where you're not going to be where cars are, and use that lead. Let your dog run safely. You also don't want to let your dog off leash at all, ever, unless it's in your own backyard for obvious reasons. So, hey, we've got Robert Lawler has joined us. Hey, welcome. So we're talking about tips for traveling with your service dog on a road trip or your dog on a road trip. That's our topic for tonight. The other thing, and this next thing really should be a no-brainer, but take your dog to the vet before you go on a road trip. Just have them take a look at your dog, check the ears, check the toenails, and check the microchip, okay? Make sure that microchip is still working, that it has not gotten corrupted, and that you have the correct information on that microchip. It's a small thing. It doesn't take that long to do it. Even if you don't want a full vet exam on your dog, I get that. At least get the microchip checked. That way, if you're out and something happens, you know that they can find you by scanning that chip. You know it works. So take the extra few minutes and have that done before you go, just to keep your dog a little safer. Okay? Do you have to have a microchip? No, you don't. You don't have to have a microchip. I don't know of any laws that require you to have a microchip on your dog. But if you don't have a microchip and your dog gets lost, you have a lower chance of getting your dog back than you do if you have a microchip. So that's why you want to always have a chip. Okay. So yeah. And any questions that you guys want to type in, just go ahead. Zion the Service Dog's here. Hi, Zion. Welcome to the live stream tonight. He's asking, what kind of service dog do I have? For a breed, my service dog is a Labrador Retriever. And if you're asking what kind of service dog I have in the sense of what he does, he is a mobility and medical alert and seizure response service dog. It's a kind of a multi-purpose dog. Let's see. Vet's office. When you go to the vet, or if you have access to the records online, bring your records with you. We signed Pipsy up for the Optimum Wellness Plan at Banfield when we first got him. First thing we did. I love the plan. Can't say enough good about it. And I just kept their folder The reason that I kept the folder is I put it up front with me or in his dog bag of stuff, because if I'm ever in a situation where I can't talk or EMS has to be called, or God forbid I'm in a car accident, then they'll have the information. And this has got pet on it. So the EMS should know that this has got pet information in it because it's got the dog. That's my hope anyway. That is my hope. So when I go to the vet's office, I will get the paperwork from having him checked out. And that's what I keep in this folder. And I'll do this whether I am taking the road trip here domestically in the US or whether I'm crossing into Canada and driving. It does not matter to me. I'm going to have this information regardless. Now, I know you're probably thinking, well, you can get that information online. I can just look it up on my cell phone. That's a great idea. Except, what if you can't get online? What if your cell phone doesn't work? What if you can't talk? There's just a million different things. What if you don't have a signal? Paper does not run out of signal. Have y'all noticed that? So take it, you'll have it. You know, if you ever need it, you can just hand it over. Let's say your dog gets sick, you've got to go to the vet. All you have to do is hand it over. There's all the information that they need right on it. So you know when your last shots are, they know what shots he's had or she's had, whether it's up to date, you know, all on this paperwork. Super, super important. And I will say that this is possibly one of the most common questions that I get asked. When I'm talking about road trip tips for a service dog and I talk about this, I get asked inevitably, why do you need a paper copy? I also get, I would never have thought about that. And that's why we're talking about it. So let me go back over here. Robert's saying, do I know how much the microchip is? They're different prices. With my first service dog, they had this huge event going on and we didn't have to pay, but I think $5 or $10 for the microchip. They still have those types of events. Now, getting my service dog from a program, he was already microchipped, so that was already included. And if you go to your vet's office, there's just various charges. Now, one of the incorrect assumptions about a microchip is that you have to pay a monthly monitoring service for that microchip, and you don't. Don't. Let's see. I'm going to pull up PC microchip. So I'm just going to pull it up real quick. I use AKC. Anybody can use AKC for their dog. You do not have to have an AKC registered dog. But they have the 1 in 3 pets will go missing in their lifetime. Service dogs also can go missing. I'm looking real quick to see if it says what their chips are. Let's say indigo microchips. No. That's not what we need. There's a microchip with a tag for $15.95. I don't know what these $500 ones are. Oh, GPS. Okay. We don't need GPS necessarily. You can get it if you want it. But once you get the microchip, you can enroll it. Now, AKC does charge a lifetime enrollment of $19. That's just to get you set up with AKC. And that is the lifetime, your prepaid registration, but there's no annual cost, there's no monthly cost. And some microchips, there's actually free programs where you don't even have to pay to enroll your pet. We didn't have to pay to enroll ours with my first service dog. We just went ahead and did that with AKC Reunite because he was already set up through them. So we did go ahead and, continue with that. And the reason we wound up doing the lifetime enrollment is I just wanted to make sure, me being paranoid, just wanted to make sure he was covered. And so I did that. But like I said, there's a lot of places where you can go to do it for free. Your vet's office can also do it for you for free. So, yeah. So in the service dog, what kind of harness do you have? I have just a plain service dining training vest, but I will be ordering another one soon, one that I can add patches on. I'm going to order stuff soon. Okay, awesome. I've got two different kinds here. One is the harness that the program put him in. And the other is an actual vest, same one actually that I used for my previous service dog. So I'm going to pull them up and show you the harness. And that is your standard mobility harness. Let's see, present, share. And I got his mobility harness off of Yep Collars. I had a Bridgeport, but it was really just a little bit bigger than what I thought I needed for him. Excellent harness. Absolutely excellent. It just was a lot chunkier. So this one from Yep Collars, they're all customized, and that's what I wanted. Let me see. Here's a better review of his harness. A woman online made the vest for me with the pouches that say medical alert. That's where I have my epinephrine. This was actually further down the list, but I'll just talk about this here for just a minute. His pouches, saddlebags, whatever you want to call them, that I have on there, have my EpiPen. It has my Benadryl because I have bad allergies. I'm anaphylactic with onions. I'm allergic to bees. So I have to carry that. I also have information about all of my doctors, my specialists. So neuro, endocrinology, all of that is written down. And I've got that tucked in there because it says medical information. Now, I know a lot of people don't want to have their medical info on their dog. I get that. I do. It makes sense. But for me, I want everybody to know where my epinephrine is. And if I'm with him, then chances are he's got that pouch on. And if he's got that pouch on, my epinephrine's on him. So, also, I have those little red pouches. Let me see, I can pull it up. And you want to have something with you. Okay, so these little pouches, the little red ones right here, which are flipped up against him, but they actually say service dog on them. Those are tag silencers, but I don't use them for tag silencers. What I have, and you can kind of see it's a little poochy there, I've got a couple of little dog bags tucked in that little pouch. And on the other pouch, I've got some dog treats in that pouch. That way, if we step outside and have to take care of business and I have his pouches off of him, then I have got what I need right there on the dog. It's also right there on the dog in case my husband takes him out or in case I pass out somewhere and EMS has to come. It's only happened once, and that was before I got the service dog, but that's part of why I got him. So he's got that, but I also have a vest. Let me pull this up. And there we go. because I really like this vest. Got it in, well, according to this, I got it in 2017. This has been a great vest. Very, very solid, sturdy. It resists pulling. It resists picks and tears. And I had it for my first service dog. I've still got it, and I still use it sometimes on Pipsy. Excellent elite spanker, tactical dog vest, training military patrol canine service dog harness, adjustable nylon harness with handle. But this is the one that I've got. And so it's got the Velcro on it. So if you want to put patches on it, you can. You can put your own. Let's see. And I've been well pleased. Well, I mean, it even says on here, last purchase July 1, 2017, and it still looks nice. I do periodically run it through the washing machine and just hang it up outside to dry or in the bathroom on the shower rod. That's just what I like. Most of the time, though, he's in his harness. But once in a while, I just want something really fast I can toss on him, and that's the best. So let's see. Hey, Busy Lady is here. Hey, how are you, Busy? Oh, I'm going to have to go watch your short. Let's see. I can't wait. Zion, the service dog, says, I can't wait to order my dog stuff. I'm going to order him a treat pouch, a short leash, boots, a CR seat belt, and a prong collar for off-leash work. Yay! He is going to be well outfitted. And yes, living positively after challenges, I think you're right. She says you remind her of her friend Tanya. Zion did a big order of dog clothes. She did. She actually is here off and on visiting our channel. So he says, yeah, I have to order him a lot of stuff. He's serviced on your training. He hasn't went out in a while because it's been so hot where I live. And now that I'm ordering boots, he's going to be on the job. Awesome. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. IADP. This is the International Association of Assistance Dog Partners. Totally off subject. Okay, so if you're watching this on the replay later, you may want to skip this little part and go to the next. But I freaking love this organization. And one of the things about it is they have discounts worked out with various companies. One of them does dog booties, and it's Mutlux. So it's like $40 a year for their membership, and it's well worth it to me. So I don't know if you qualify or not, but it's worth looking into. Especially like if you're going to do Dasequin for your service dog, you may be able to get it on their grant. I was able to. It's been a big help. So here's their website. And they also sponsor the eye exams that they offer them every year with the American College of Veterinary Ophthalmologists. So that's their website. I can't say enough good about them, just personally. So check it out. Not only do they have discounts worked out on dog boots, but they have other discounts with other places too. And yeah, so that's a big thing. Also with dog boots, have you ordered dog boots before? Because they often come in sets of twos. And I was actually going to talk about dog boots, so I have notes here that I'm going by. So I'll skip down right quick and talk about dog boots. One is the IAADP that I just mentioned with the discounts. But the big thing about dog boots that kind of throws people, especially the first time they get them, is a lot of dog boot companies have them in pairs. And you think, why do I only need 2 dog boots? Well, you don't. You need 4. But with dogs, oftentimes the back paws are a different size from the front paws. So buying them in pairs helps you ensure that you're getting the right fit. It's more expensive to do it that way, but it can be better for your dog, because if you get the wrong fit, it can lead, just like with humans, you can have blisters form and all kinds of problems. But it's also really common if you happen to have booties that are just a little bit too big. You know what? Your dog could be running and all of a sudden you're missing a booty because it's fallen off. Live to that. So you want to measure your dog's foot. So put the dog's paw on a piece of paper, take a pen, mark each side of the dog, each side of the dog's paw, and measure that. Do that for the backs, do that for the front paws, and that tells you what size you need. When you go to order them, you just get a much better fit, or if you go into the store, you'll get a better fit. And in a lot of stores, you can hold the dog boots up to the paws. It's just you have to remember you're looking at the outside of the boot, and it can fit a little differently once it actually gets on the paw. So you're going to want your dog boots not just for hot weather, but you're going to want them if you're anywhere where the surface is a little rough. So trails, gravel parking lots, the beach, sand can get in between their paws, and that can cause little tiny, like microscopic cuts. The sand can get lodged in there, and you'll have to find yourself kind of picking it out. So if your dog will get used to booties, that's the way to go. And I actually had the problem one time. We were in New Mexico. We were at my daughter's, and Pacer comes running to me, except he's got one leg hanging up. And I'm like, what's wrong? And I looked, and he had gotten a little burr in between his paws. So now we call that a burrito, because he had his burr in his toe. Terrible joke. I know. So do the booties. Also, hot weather, when it's cold and you are outside and it has snowed, then you're walking through salt that's on the road mixed in with the snow. So there's tons and tons of reasons to have the dog boots. Now, you can also get a cream to put on your dog's pads. A lot of people do that. So that can be an option too. So if your dog won't wear the boots, then you can try the cream. I feel a little bit more secure with boots than I do cream, but it's, talk to your vet if you're going to do cream. Let's see. Yeah, I have to order in boots, and then I have to get them desensitized to it like a week. And then I could get a prong collar. I'm not really sure, though. People do hate those, and I'm still getting it. Well, I tell you, I didn't have to use a prong collar with my first service dog, and the agency uses martingales with their dogs, and that's what he's still on. So definitely something to think about. It's personal choice. That's just what we happen to use. So, yeah. I'm off list. Oh, ADA. All right, y'all. I get really mad about this. The ADA law. We should not have to have a copy of the ADA law with us, but reality is we have to have a copy of the ADA law with us. Very frustrating. But when you go in and people want to hold you up about going into a hotel or a restaurant, shopping, whatever, they'll often ask you for an ID. The law doesn't recognize any ID. The law doesn't recognize any kind of certification. The law does not require your dog to be in a specific vest, leash, harness, collar, tags, no tags. None of that is required. And there are 2 questions that they can ask. Only 2. Is your service dog a service dog required because of a disability? And what work or task has it been trained to do? They cannot ask you to demonstrate. They cannot ask you what is wrong with you. They cannot ask you why you need your service dog to pick a task. They can't ask that. Is your dog a service dog required because of a disability? And what work or task has he been trained to do? Beyond that, they're out of line. Now, realistically, to deal with it in the moment, you may have to give or feel like you have to give more answers. So, what I like to do, and on Pipsy, I have never shown ID for him at all, ever. Even at the hospital, well, I'll talk about hospital in a minute because they were awesome. Several times I've had to be at the hospital in like 2 different hospitals, and they were awesome. But I'm posting the link to the ADA law. Okay. I'm also going to share it because I strongly suggest that you carry a copy of it in your paperwork because you might need it. And it pushes my buttons that we need it. But anyway, the ADA requirements, they have got this wonderful FAQ on their website. It is a pain to print it out because you're printing out 15 billion pages, but it says exactly how a service dog is defined, where they're allowed. Service animals must be under control, but we already know that. And it says exclusions, charges, other specific rules related to service dog animals. It says allergies and fear of dogs. Those are not reasons to deny you with a service dog. Sorry. You can only be asked to remove it if the dog is out of control and you can't get him back in control, or if it's not housebroken, or if it's disruptive. So like if it's barking continually when it's not alerting, that's considered disruptive. But like businesses sometimes will give you all kinds of excuses why you can't go in. And if you pull the service dog law out, and you can show them in writing on the paperwork, sometimes it helps. And we can talk about that a little bit later. But I want to point out on this website, you have to go all the way down to the bottom. And if it does not print out well on your paperwork, take a pen and write it down because they have an information line. And that is the Department of Justice, the Civil Rights Division. All you have to do, if somebody is giving you a hard time, you can say, hey, boom, I happen to have the Department of Justice phone number. Let me give it to you. It's an information line. You can call it. And so sometimes that helps. Sometimes we have to call the police to get it documented, especially if we're going to file a report. And being able to show the ADA law to the officers can also be helpful. Okay? So we shouldn't have to have it, but we do. And along this same vein is if you're doing a road trip and you're going through multiple states, it's a lot of paper. I am a tree killer and I am sorry, but go to the website for each state and pull the service dog law off of their website and take that printout with you. I'm a big believer in printouts because you can just whip them out. but you'll have it to refer to, and you can show it to whoever you need to. So I strongly suggest, okay, as far as a road trip tip for traveling with your service dog, I would suggest that. Actually, if I'm flying, I'm going to take it too, because you may need it. And the reason I say take the state paperwork as well as the federal is because some places, well, sometimes people will say things like, well, our state law prohibits, or our local health department prohibits you from coming into the hotel because you might go to the breakfast. And you can say, no, here it is in federal and here it is in state. So that it can be helpful. So, all right. Let me go back in here. I'm ordering them off. Okay, Zion's talking about his service dog boots, saying he's ordering them off a TikTok shop, and they're coming in a pack of 4, and they're red. I have to make sure it was 4. Okay, just check your sizes pretty carefully on that. Just make sure that they will fit all 4 paws. And it may take a little longer than you want to for them to get used to it. So stick with it, okay? Don't give up. But it may take a little longer than a week for that to happen. So, okay. ADA, records. Oh, items. Let's go back to that. Pulling it up. Okay. Don't overlook taking a first aid kit. Whether you are doing van life, whether you're doing a road trip in the family van or your car, take a first aid kit. So I have this one, and I have it for people and for service dogs. I use the same kit because I shoved everything that I could shove into the one kit just so I could keep up with it. But I also have a video on it, and I'll link it down below so you guys can see what I have in my first aid kit. So when I was picking out the kits, what I saw was that none of the kits were really comprehensive for what I needed for my service dog. So I went and talked to the veterinarian, and I talked to my daughter. She's a vet tech, but she'd also done a year at vet school until she added up her student loans and saw what she was going to owe when she got out. So once she added up that figure, she was done. But I worked with both of those to get a first aid kit worked together for Pipsy that would have most of what I needed in it. Some of the things are the same as you would need for people. So for that, I just have like one thing in there. So like tweezers, I don't need like 2 sets of tweezers. But you're going to need that if your dog gets something stuck in his paws. So I've got tweezers, I've got vet wrap, I've got gauze, lots of things like that. I've got some stuff to make them throw up, which I hope never to need. But there's just a lot of different things. So definitely talk to your vet about the first aid kit and what your vet wants you to have in the kit, and then work that out. So let me see. I'm looking for that link. I thought I would go ahead and post it. Okay. Yeah, here we go. And I did this on a live stream so people could see exactly what all I was putting in the kit. Here we go. I'm going to drop this over in the chat so you'll have that. So make sure it's well stocked. Keep it with you. And if you pick up a business card from your vet's office, I did, and I have that in the kit also. I have my paperwork, but it's also in my kit. So yeah, double on that. All right. So ADA items. Okay. One more thing that is pretty much overlooked when you're taking a dog on a trip is take a few minutes and write down for the major cities that you're going through, write down boarding facilities for some of the major cities that you're going to be driving through, and write down your vet's offices, just so you know ahead of time. So like Knoxville, Tennessee. Whoa, sorry about that. So like Knoxville, Tennessee, for example, I made a little list here, and I know that they have an emergency vet. They have a vet school. I've got their phone numbers. He's on the Banfield Wellness Plan, so I've got that information, and I've got a couple of boarding facilities. Just you don't have to do it for like every single city, but like if I'm going to go, like, let's say I'm going to Arizona and I'm going straight out Interstate 40, I know I'm going to go through Knoxville, Nashville, Memphis, Little Rock, Oklahoma City, Amarillo, and whatnot. So I have the information for the major towns, because, if I'm out somewhere and something happens and I need to board Pipsy, all of a sudden, let's say something's wrong, I wound up and I have an anaphylactic attack and I'm actually inpatient. Yes, that's him. I'm actually inpatient at a hospital and I have to board him and make those phone calls. I don't want to have to be digging through on my phone. I want something quick and easy that I can just grab. So make a list, okay? Vet's offices, obviously. So if your dog gets something stuck in his paw, gets sick, whatever, you'll have that information at your fingertips. Yes, it takes a little bit to work through that, dig through all the information, but it is well worth it. Case in point, I'll give you an example. First service dog, I'm in Canada. I am outside of Whitehorse, Canada, which is in Yukon, capital of Yukon. I'm outside of that by about an hour. We stop, let him out of the van on leash, but outside of the van, and he's attacked by another dog. Not a good situation. Now, it turns out, he was okay, but the dog had his mouth clamped onto my dog's neck, and we needed to make sure there were no tears and whatnot, and I needed all this information. So having it all written down really helps. So that's why I suggest having it and having your vet's information right there at your fingertips. Chances are you're never going to need it. I've done a whole lot of traveling. I've needed it one time, and that one time paid off in spades, okay? So I know that some of this seems like overkill, and like I said, you're probably never going to need it. But just in case, it doesn't hurt to have it, okay? And obviously, you want to make sure that you have the pet meds and so forth. And what I like to do, because I travel so much with my service dog and I'm in the van so much, what I have found is it is helpful to have an extra small bag of dog food. Now, in this case, Banfield PetSmart actually had it quite some time ago, where they had 20% off, and I had a gift card. So I found this smaller bag of dog food, and I was able to get both of them with a gift card, considering the other one was on sale. So I wound up paying basically nothing. That's dog mom math. Nothing extra to get this extra small bag of dog food. So I just have that and I just leave it in the van. It stays out there and I don't even have to think about it. I still take his dog food with me for X number of days. But if anything happens, I have dog food that he'll eat. So I don't have to worry so much about taking extra dog food with me because I've already got it. But if you are going to be on a road trip with your dog, I strongly suggest taking more dog food than you think you're going to need and take more treats than you think you're going to need. That way you're covered if anything happens, because your dog is like your baby. Okay? You want your dog to have everything that your dog needs when your dog needs it. So be prepared, because believe me, if you watch my channel, you know your car can break down. Things can happen to you. You can get sick, just any number of things, and you can find your trip having to be extended by a day or two. That's why you want to have it. That's also why I carry the filtering water bottle to filter his water, because I'll have some with me in the van that he's used to drinking. But if something happens and I'm stuck out, he can have it filtered. Yeah. So, yeah. Let's see. Going back to my notes. Records, ADA, boarding, vets, items, toys, comforts, treats, food, medicines. Obviously, if your dog's on medicines, take more than you need and make sure you take it. Medicines. Okay. Shoes, I got that. I did EDT for. Yeah, I think I've got it. And I've got the list. Okay. So I think we're pretty well covered. The one more thing that I want to share with you is a cooling mat for the dog. And you may want to use this even in your car, even in warmer weather. Here we go. And again, I'm showing you things that I use, that I've bought. I'm showing you on Amazon, so you can see that I've actually bought these items. And these are actually items that I use because I want to be more fair with you. So you know, indeed, I do put these into practice. Okay, the washable dog cooling mat. You don't just have to use it in the summer, okay? There are still warm days, even into October. Now, obviously, if you live in Alaska, you're not going to have warm days in October. But short of Alaska or northern Canada, you may still have some warm days. So you can put this in the car on top of your mat that you have protecting your seats. You can take it with you and use it pretty much anywhere. So one of the times when I like to use it is I like to have a mat that he can be down on if we go to a restaurant, for example. You know, if we have to be outside at a restaurant, let's say friends want to do outdoor dining or whatever, then I like to have the cooling mat to put it down for him to lay on top of, just to put something between him and the ground, okay? Or the other thing that I have is a super thick towel, but just to keep something between him and the pavement. The cooling mat can be great for that. And that's just because it lets air flow differently than a regular mat. So, and you can see last purchase June 2023 on this particular one. So, yeah. So, those are some of my tips for going on a road trip with a service dog. Hey, who I have been joined by. Hello. He was out on the other side of the door playing with the hubs. Yeah. But now you're in here with me. I know. So, yeah, I got totally sidetracked by my dog coming in. ADHD, right? So anyway, those are my tips. And if you have any other questions, drop those in the comments. I will do my best to answer them because I want to help. I've been a service dog handler since 2007, and I have talked to tons of people, and I have called the Department of Justice more times than I can possibly count. And if I can share my knowledge with you all, then here it is. And please feel free to share your knowledge. Drop that in the comments. When I ask you to do that, it is not rhetorical. I really want to know. So thank you all for coming in tonight. I have really appreciated seeing everybody. And y'all take off. Have a great week. And I will see you Saturday at 7:30 Eastern time right here on this channel. So remember, it's always hashtag be bodacious. Don't let life get in the way of living. Take care. See y'all next week. Good night.